Hi everyone, welcome to Beginner Yoga with Heather. I'm going to start my music if you wanted to start yours. And we're going to start in a comfortable seated position, also known as Sukhasana. So you sit in a cross-legged position, maybe remove your sit bones and just get comfortable. Have a long spine. And maybe close your eyes, or you can have a soft gaze out in front of you, whichever you prefer. And you can place your hands down on your knees, face down, to just ground down and prepare yourself for the next hour of class. So just take a deep breath in, and then you can take a deep breath out through your mouth. And another deep breath in and out through your mouth. Just letting go of whatever's happened today. Maybe a lot's happened. We're just gonna start to relax our bodies and come into this moment, doing a scan of how our body feels. Breathing in and out. Maybe releasing your shoulders down from your ears if they're up there. Releasing that. Keeping your head straight. The small line of energy from your spine all the way up through the crown. Breathe in. And from here, I'm going to teach you a breathing technique called Ujjayi breathing. It's a very common breathing technique that they teach in yoga. It's also called your ocean sounding breath. And it's a breathing technique that you can use throughout the class, especially in the harder poses and the more intense flows. If you use this breathing technique, it'll help you. Yoga is really about linking your breath and movement, and this helps. So you constrict the back of your throat when you breathe out with your mouth closed. So it's all in and out through your nose with your throat constricted. And if you want to take your hand to your face with your palm towards your face and just breathe out like you're fogging up a window, that's kind of the sound you're going to be making, but with your mouth closed. You want to practice that. You're going to breathe, so we'll try it together. You breathe in through your nose, and then it almost sounds even like Darth Vader. Breathing in and out. Constricting that back of the throat. If we were in a studio, I'd say like breathe so that your neighbor can hear you. Encourage that breathing. And just settle in. I'm going to also talk to you today about one of the yamas and niyamas of yoga, the yoga ethical practice. The first practice is called ahimsa, which is translated to nonviolence, which is a great foundation to start on if you're just a beginner in yoga, because nonviolence is so valued that it stands as the very core and foundation of all yoga philosophy and practice. And obviously that means be kind to others, but more importantly, it also means be kind to yourself. And love lies at the core of nonviolence and begins with our love of self, not a love that is egocentric, but a love that is forgiving and lenient, a love that sees the humor and the imperfections and accepts the fullness of the human expression, which I think is so great to think about during this practice. Just be kind to yourself, accept where your body is today, and don't push yourself. Don't let that ego get in the way. Don't think like you have to have posture perfectly. Just go to where your body allows you to go today. Be kind. If you want to then take your hands to heart center for a moment, keeping your eyes closed or with that soft gaze, I'd like to invite you to maybe set an intention for today's class. It can be based on this yama, nonviolence. You can have your intention be kind to yourself today. Maybe it's stay in the present moment. Maybe it's just sending love to somebody that needs it or sending love to yourself. One more breath here. And then you can just place your hands down by your knees for a moment. And then we're gonna breathe in and bring our hands up towards the sky. And then breathe out, shift your torso over to the right, dropping your left hand on your right knee and bringing that right arm behind you. And then placing it down by the base of your spine on the mat. I'll show you a side view so you can have an idea of it. You're still sitting upright and you're not dumping your weight into that back hand. It's just merely there for support. And you're using that left hand as an anchor to twist your body over to that right side. And you're twisting from the belly button, twisting from your chest, bringing that whole torso over to the right. And then the last to go over to the right is your gaze. If you can gaze over your right shoulder. And you just breathe. 2 more breaths here. Hopefully your sit bones are still firmly planted on the ground. And then you're going to breathe in and bring your body back towards center with your arms lifted up. And then you can just switch the cross of your legs for a moment. Might feel a little bit differently, but why not give love to that other leg? And then we're going to breathe in and breathe out, slowly bringing our torso over to the left side this time, dropping the right hand to the left knee, and then bringing that left arm back behind you, and then dropping it down by the base of your spine. Keeping a long, straight spine, keeping your seat down on the ground, and then twisting from your belly button and your torso, and then taking that gaze over to the left. 2 breaths here. And then you're going to breathe in, bringing your hands up, facing center, and then breathe out. Just bring your hands back down to the mat. And then you're going to roll over your legs, and we're going to get into tabletop position. In tabletop position, I want to get you guys to see every angle. So I might be moving around a lot. But in tabletop position, you want to make sure that your shoulders are above your wrists and your knees are below your hips. And you have a flat back. So if someone was going to put a tray on it, it wouldn't tip over. And your fingers are spread wide and firmly planted on the ground, really gripping into the mat. Just feel how it feels to be in that perfect alignment of tabletop. Your gaze is slightly forward with your neck not crunched or anything. It's just perfectly straight along with the spine. And then you're going to breathe in and tuck your toes, drop your belly and shift your hips back a little as you bring your chest and gaze forward into that cow back. Sorry, it's cow. Dropping your belly, lifting your gaze. And that's what cow is. And then as you breathe out, you untuck your toes and start to bring your gaze towards that belly button as you round the spine, shifting that pelvis towards that face. For a cat back, really pressing your hands into the mat, really rounding the spine. Like a scared Halloween cat. And then you're going to breathe in, tucking your toes, dropping your belly, lifting your gaze for cow. And breathe out, rounding your spine, untucking your toes, looking towards your belly. And we'll do that 3 more times at your own pace, just breathing in, shifting yourself forward for cow, and breathing out for cat. Twice more, taking it as far as you like, maybe pushing even further back when you do a cat. Just making it your own, remembering that anything that I say is truly a suggestion, and your body knows better than I do. So once more, and after your last cat, you're just gonna bring yourself back to that neutral tabletop position. And then you're just gonna take your hands and bring them so that your fingertips face that outer edge of your mat. And we'll just shift our weight from side to side, breathing into those wrists, because we're gonna be on them a lot today, and especially if you don't do some of these poses often, it can be really hard on your wrists, so we want to give them some love. And then you can bring your fingertips to maybe facing your knees if that's available to you. You can shift your weight forward and back. This feels good. And then after a few times, you're just gonna bring your fingertips back to facing forward. And then we'll bring our seat back to our heels for a moment and just sit on our heels. This is called hero's pose. You can just shake out your wrists for a moment. And then we're gonna go back into that tabletop position. And from this tabletop position, you'll take your right foot and step it back with your toes tucked. And you're gonna just shift back and forth on that foot, pushing the heel back and forward, getting a really nice stretch in your hamstring. And then the next time that you're kind of towards center, you're going to then take your left hand, that opposite side, that left hand, and just start to walk it forward towards the more front of your mat. Your hand is still on the ground with your fingers tented, as if there's like a tennis ball underneath that you're holding. And then you're gonna slowly lift that right foot, back foot up, maybe to about your hips distance. And then you can breathe in and lift your left arm up and extend it for spinal balance, keeping your core engaged, gaze is forward. There's a long line of energy going out from those left fingertips to your right heel, because your foot is gonna be flexed and your toes are pointing down. Take one more breath here. And then you're gonna drop your left hand down. Just place your foot down for a moment, and then, what's it called? Kickstand your left leg out and drop that right foot all the way down. So I don't know if my back is to you. Let's show you on this side. So you're kickstanding that left foot out and then dropping that right foot down with the full foot fully planted on the ground, and your left knee is intersecting with your right arch. And then because of this, you kind of just naturally want to bring your right arm up, and you're expanding your chest open all the way to the right side of your mat. Breathing here for this modified plank. One more breath here, and then you're going to take your right arm, bring it down, and then just shift yourself back into tabletop position. And we'll do that all on the other side. So this time, after you get yourself situated back into tabletop, you're gonna take your left foot and extend it back with your toe tuck. And then just move back and forth into that arch of your foot, feeling a nice stretch of your hamstrings. And then you're gonna slowly start to walk your right hand out with your fingertips to the ground. And then breathe in, lift that back leg, foot is flexed, toes are pointing down. And then breathing in, you're gonna lift that arm, extending it out in front of you. Gaze is down and forward. Spinal balance. Remember to keep your core engaged. Really press into that left hand. One more breath. And then drop that right hand. You can drop your left foot for a moment as you kickstand your right leg out to the side. Drop that left foot, raise it all the way down with the pinky edge of your foot towards the back edge of the mat. And then lift your arm up towards the sky, opening your chest up to the left side. You can even look up, modified plank. One more breath here. And then just drop your left hand back down. Bring yourself back to tabletop position. And this time bring your feet together and widen out your knees and use your hands to bring your seat back towards your heels. You can even walk your hands a little bit more forward so that you can place your forehead on the mat if possible for child's pose. And I feel like everyone, even if you've never taken a yoga class before, knows child's pose. It's supposed to be a relaxing pose, a resting pose. You can have your legs as wide as you'd like. If you want to have an engaged child's pose, you press into your hands so that your elbows and your wrists are off the mat. And you can even use those hands to push your seat further back to your heels. And you're just breathing here. This is a resting pose. It's a pose that you can come back to throughout the rest of the class if you need a break, especially if like we're doing down dog for a few breaths and you need to take a break. Maybe just drop your knees and sit back in this child's pose. Feel the support of the earth underneath you. Feel safe. And breathe. And then from here, you're gonna just walk your hands back a little as if you're going back into tabletop. But this time you're gonna tuck your toes and lift your knees off the ground, but try to keep your belly toward your knees as you slowly lift your hips up towards the sky for the first downward facing dog. And then you can even play with pressing your heels down a little. The thing with downward facing dog, there's a lot of things to work on for alignment. The most important, I think, are definitely press into your hands as hard as possible so that there's like whites at the tips of your fingertips. Fingers are spread really wide and there's a lot of weight in that pointer and thumb finger. You also want to have your arms kind of, what's the right word? You want to have it so that your eyes of your elbows are kind of going towards the front of the room. And your gaze is at your knees or your ankles. And your knees can be bent if you need that. Heels are going towards the ground. And you're breathing. One more breath here. And then we're gonna slowly start to walk our hands back towards our feet for a forward fold at the back of our mat. You can have your knees bent here with your belly resting fully on your thighs if you'd like. And you have even weight in both of your feet. And you can take a little bit of a sway if you'd like. Maybe grabbing opposite elbows as you sway. Just breathing, releasing that whole back and neck and head. And then drop your hands if they're not already going towards the ground, if you have them clasped. And then slowly start to bring your body up, vertebra by vertebra. Then you can take your shoulders and bring them up by your ears and then just release them down. And we're gonna get into our Tadasana mountain pose. So the thing about mountain pose that you want to do is you can either have your feet with your toes touching, if you like that, or some women, maybe it's more comfortable to have your feet at hips distance. Either way is fine. And everything, even though it looks like a very easy pose, everything's actually engaged. Your thighs are really engaged so that your knees are pulling up a little. Your core is engaged, your ribs are knitting together as if like someone's picking you up in Dirty Dancing. I heard that once and I feel like it's the perfect example of like what it should feel like. You should feel that lift. Your chest is opening, your shoulders are broad and wide, your arms are down by your side, but like you feel powerful. And then your crown is going up. It's your like neutral standing pose, Tadasana. Take one more breath here, stand to feel. And then breathe in and bring your hands up towards the sky, gaze is lifting. And then breathe out, swan dive over your legs, bending at your knees if you need it, to bring yourself down to the mat. And then if you have a block, you might need it. It's close by. Or maybe you don't. I can show you a way with it. But from here, when you breathe in, we're gonna go to a flat back. So you're forward folded, and then you're gonna go to a flat back when you breathe in. And flat back you can use for the block if you can't reach the ground, or an alternative, if you don't have a block, you can also just place your hands at your shins. Doesn't really matter so much about that. It just matters that your back is flat. Gaze is forward, out in front of you. And then you can just breathe out and release. And then from here, we're gonna walk our hands back to the front of our mat. This time going into plank position. And in plank, you wanna make sure your shoulders are above your wrists. Again, your hands are spread really wide, pressing into the ground, core is engaged. Your hips are not sagging, you have a straight back, and your booty's not out either. You really want to have that neutral spine. I know, hold it for one more second, pushing out from the back of your heels, and then you're gonna drop your knees. Sorry, even though it's a beginner classes can be hard because you're like working on your alignment. And then after you drop your knees, you're gonna slowly bend at your elbows and bring your chest and chin towards the ground. And then just shift those hips back a little to lie fully on your belly. And then we're gonna slowly bring just our chest and head off the ground for a baby cobra. In baby cobra, there's no weight in your hands. You can even take them off the mat. And your feet are firmly planted on the ground. You breathe here for one more breath. And then just release down. And then you can tuck your toes and just bring yourself back into downward facing dog. And then from here, you're gonna walk to the front of the mat. Slowly. Forward fold for a moment. And then you're going to breathe in, bringing your hands up towards the sky. This time your hands are coming together up ahead. And then when you breathe out, you're bringing your hands to heart center. Just breathe here for a moment. And then you can drop your hands down, Tadasana, remembering to keep everything engaged. That was one round of Sun Salutation A, Surya Namaskara A. And we're gonna do 2 more of those a little bit faster. If you wanna take a break, take a sip of water for a moment, we can do that. You kind of know where we're going now because that's like the full flow. But it's in a lot of yoga classes. So if you get the hang of this and realize that the movements are all with your breath, it becomes easier over time. So we're at the top of our mats in Tadasana. We're gonna breathe in, bring your hands up towards the sky, bringing your gaze with it, and breathe out, swan dive over your legs. And then you're gonna breathe in for a flat back, lifting your gaze a little, bringing your hands either to that block or to your shin. And then breathe out, release down. And then you're gonna place your hands firmly on the ground and step your right foot back, and then step your left foot back. And you're in plank, but then you're just gonna bring your hips up towards the sky. Another fun thing about plank and downward facing dog is that your feet and hands are in the same alignment the whole time. So that if you're in downward facing dog and you wanna check your alignment, you can just breathe in and shift your weight forward, and you should be perfectly in plank if you wanna check that out. And then breathe out, lifting your hips. Take one more breath here in downward facing dog. And then we're gonna breathe in, shifting our weight for plank, and then dropping our knees. And then you're going to bend at your elbows, As you slowly bring your chest and chin towards the ground, and then shift your hips down. This time you can put weight into your hands. Feet are pressing firmly into the ground as you slowly lift your chest and head for Cobra. With Cobra, make sure that your pelvis is still glued to the ground. Feet are very engaged. Your knees are off the mat. One more breath here. And then bring yourself back down. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips. Downward facing dog. And then after one breath here, you're gonna walk your feet to the front of the mat. Forward fold. Breathe in for a flat back. Breathe out, forward fold. Breathe in, bringing your hands up towards the sky, lifting your gaze, hands come together. Breathe out, hands at heart center. One breath here, and then drop your hands down by your side. Two rounds, one more to go. Breathe in, extend your hands up, lifting that gaze. Breathe out, folding over your legs. Bending at the knees if you need it. Breathing in for a flat back. Breathing out for a forward fold. Stepping your left foot back. And then your right foot back, plank. This time, if you want, you can do the knees, chest, chin that I was just teaching you, or I'll show you just one chaturanga. It's a little bit more advanced, but something that they talk about a lot, so I want to show you. You can drop your knees if you want while you watch, if you want to watch. But in chaturanga, when you're in plank, it's the same thing with your knees on the ground, but instead you're keeping them up and you're slowly bending at your arms with your elbows scraping your sides. And then you're staying here. And you can drop all the way down for Cobra, or if you stay here, you flip your toes and then go up for up dog, but we're not going into that, that's more advanced. I don't know why I'm even telling you. But yeah, so let's just drop our knees or go down for chaturanga, bring ourselves all the way down to our bellies. And then you can either do baby cobra or full cobra, it's up to you. Keeping your pelvis and your feet glued to the ground as you slowly lift your chest and gaze up for a slight back bend of your choice. And then breathe out. Bring yourself down, tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. And then you're going to look ahead and slowly walk your feet back to the front of your mat. Breathe in for a flat back, and breathe out, folding. Breathe in, extend your hands up towards the sky, hands come together. And breathe out, hands at heart center. One breath here. And then you're dropping your hands down by your side for Tadasana. And we're all gonna take a water break because we just completed 3 rounds of that sun salute. Okay. Got to put my hair back now, because now we're going to get more into some standing poses. So we'll do some of the same movements though. So once you get back situated into Tadasana, you're going to breathe in and bring your hands up towards the sky. Breathe out, folding over your legs. And then this time, you're going to step your left foot back. So you're in a low lunge, and then just drop that left knee down and untuck that toe, untuck your toes. And then you can take your hands and bring them to your right knee. Make sure that your knee is aligned with your heel. And then that back foot, I'll show you better, is not sickled. Like it's not out to the side, it's a straight out from that leg. The left thigh is going towards towards the mat. And you can stay here with just your hands resting on your knee. This is Anjaneyasana. Or you can take your hands and lift them up And maybe take a slight back bend as you look up. Up to you, wherever your body wants to go today. Remembering to really keep pushing down through your feet to keep you stabilized. One more breath here. And you can take your hands down, tuck that back toe, and lift your knee up. So you're back in that high lunge, low lunge. We're gonna go into high lunge because you're gonna take your hands and then lift them up. High lunge, it's the same alignment. Your knee is over your ankle. We're staying here. Your arms are up, but your shoulders should be away from your ears. One more breath here. And then you're gonna just drop that back heel down and shift your weight all the way to the side of your mat so that you're in a wide-legged stance. And you can just take a moment here. Your feet can be as wide as is comfortable for you. And then you're gonna place your hands on your hips. I'm gonna show you the alignment for Warrior Two. So in Warrior Two, your back foot, which is gonna be your left foot, is parallel with the back edge of your mat. So that pinky edge is the same as your back of your mat. And then your right foot, your right toes are gonna go towards the front of your mat. And to check your feet, your right heel should be intersecting with that arch of that left foot. There's a bend in your knee. Knee is over that ankle. Pretty much always like that if your knee is bent. But your hands are on your hips because you want to make sure that your hip points are still towards that edge of the mat, even though your foot is forward. And your chest is still to the side. And then you're going to take your hands and bring them to either side of you to a T. And then you're going to just take your gaze over that right hand, over those right fingertips. Warrior Two. You're going to breathe here for a breath. And really feel like your feet are like trying to rip your mat in half. That's what it should feel like. One more breath, and then flip that right palm up towards the sky. Shift your weight forward a little bit, and then shift your hands back, dropping your left hand to that left thigh, lifting that right arm up towards the sky along with the gaze for Peaceful Warrior. The left hand is sliding down that left leg as the right arm goes up and over your right ear. If you feel more comfortable, you can always take that left arm and just bring it back behind you like this. That's like setting yourself up for a bind for future stuff, but maybe it's more comfortable for you. One more breath here, and then you're gonna bring your hands back into Warrior Two and straighten that front leg. And grab a block. Take that block and place it to the outer edge of your right foot. I'd recommend starting on the highest level and seeing what works for you. But once you place your block at the outer edge of the right foot, you're going to shift your weight forward and then slowly start to bring your torso parallel to the ground, placing that right hand on that block. That's why I said the highest. Maybe it's medium. If you don't have a block, you could also just slide down your leg. But the reason I say block is because the block really helps you open up and expand your chest open and up. Because this is triangle pose, Trikonasana. A lot of times you see people just like crouching like forward and dumping into their chest. We don't want that. We want expansiveness. We want a long line of energy from fingertip to fingertip because your arms are extending out to a T to the side. One more breath here. And then you can breathe in, bring your arms back up to a T, and then just shift yourself forward and you can take a step to the front of your mat. Maybe shake your legs out for a minute. And I figured because tree is my favorite pose and because it was in the picture for this advertisement, I couldn't teach this class without doing tree. Tree is a balancing pose. Sometimes balancing isn't easy though. So if you have something nearby and you want to like use it as like help, that's totally fine. You're going to take all your weight into your right foot as you just slowly start to bring your left foot up and bring that knee so that it's right in front of your hip. You can take a hold of that knee and maybe just stay here for the next few moments, the next minute or so. Or if you want to go further, you can take your right hand to your right hip and then slowly bring that left knee out to the side. And maybe you're staying here. Or if you want to go into full tree, you're going to then take your foot and place it to your ankle, your calf, or your thigh, but never your knee. And you're going to push your foot into your leg as you use that right leg that's very engaged to push back, almost to help you balance. And you can stay here with just your hands down, or maybe you're taking your hands to heart center. If you're feeling really adventurous with playing with balance, you can bring your hands up. And if you fall out of it, just get right back into it. I also forgot to mention what really helps is a focal point. It's called a dristi. It's a point in front of you that's not moving that you can focus on to help you with your balance. And I feel like how doing this enough, so you can just take our foot down, drop it down, shake out our legs. But yeah, with balance, sometimes days are just harder to balance than some days are harder to balance than others. But we're practicing our ahimsa, nonviolence, being kind to ourselves. So we're back at the front of our mat. We can get ourselves back into that Tadasana alignment. Feet are hips distance apart. Hands are down by our sides. I'm gonna take a deep breath here and a deep breath out. And then breathe in, extend your hands up towards the sky, lifting your gaze. And breathe out, folding over your legs. Breathing in for a flat back. And then breathing out, folding over your legs. This time, stepping your right foot back for a low lunge. And then you're going to drop your right knee, untuck those toes, and walk your hands up to your left knee. Checking in to make sure that your knee is aligned with your ankle, that back foot isn't sickled, and the right thigh is going down towards the mat. You can like widen your stance if you need to. It's really up to you. Everybody's different. And you're staying here and breathing, or maybe you're taking your hands and lifting them up towards the sky and giving yourself a little slight back bend. Breathing here, 2 breaths. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathe in one more time and then breathe out, bringing your hands back towards the mat. Tucking your back toe under, lifting that back knee, low lunge. And then breathing in as you slowly bring your hands up towards the sky for high lunge. Remembering to keep a bend in the knee, knees over your ankle. And you're breathing. One more breath, and then you're going to shift your hips over to the right side of your mat, dropping that back heel down, shifting your toes both to the right side of your mat. You can take a moment here, maybe place your hands on your hips and breathe. And we'll do warrior 2 on this side now. So let me see. Our left foot is forward, I guess, right? Yeah. So from here, you're gonna make sure that your right foot is aligned with the back edge of your mat. And then you're gonna take your left toes and point them towards the front of the mat. Making sure that the left heel is intersecting with the back right arch. There's a bend in that left knee, knee over ankle. Hips are still pointing towards the side of the mat, so is the torso. And then you're lifting your hands up to a T. Gaze is over the left hands, left fingertips. And you're breathing here, feeling strong and powerful in your warrior 2. And breathe. Feeling the force, feeling that pull of the 2 feet going in opposite directions. Feeling that power of your hands extending out in opposite directions. One more breath, and then you're lifting that front palm, that left palm up towards the sky, shifting your weight a tiny bit forward, but then shifting your right arm to the back of your right leg as it slowly slides down, and your left arm reaches up towards the sky, maybe even reaching back a little if you can, for peaceful warrior. Maybe taking that hand and putting it behind you if that feels more comfortable. And breathe in. One more breath, and then you're gonna breathe in. Bring your hands back to a T. Straighten that front leg. Take that block and bring it to the outer edge of your left foot. We'll go into triangle on this side. So from here, you're going to shift your weight forward and then slowly drop that left hand down to your block or your leg as your right arm goes up towards the sky, gazes up. Body is parallel with the ground. You're breathing here for 3 breaths. One more breath, and then you're bringing your hands back up. And then in no fancy way, bringing yourself back to the front of your mat. Maybe shaking your legs out if you need it. And we'll do tree on this side. So we'll do it on the right foot. So place all your weight in your left foot and bring your right knee up. And grab onto that knee and stand here if that's where you want. Remembering to keep your foot engaged and flexed, both feet obviously. And then you're taking your left hand to your left hip and bringing that right knee out to the side. Maybe staying here, or you're putting your foot at your ankle, calf, or thigh for tree. And your hands can be out to the side or to heart center. Maybe it's on a wall or a table to help you stabilize. It's really up to you and where you're at today. Maybe you're even playing with extending your arms up. I don't know. That's not really beginner, but some people are naturally better at balancing. One more breath here. And then you're gonna just drop your foot down, shake it out. We have 20 minutes left, so I guess a little less than 20 minutes left. So we're gonna just slowly bring our seat down to our mat and get more into the ground poses. So you want your feet extended out in front of you with your feet flexed, and you can just remove any flesh from underneath you, get that out of the way. Legs are very engaged, and you're forming a 90-degree angle with your legs and your body. Grab your strap or tie or whatever you have. You're gonna need it in a moment. So this is staff pose, and I was talking about flexibility earlier with my grandma, and I was saying that flexibility can take so much time to get us flexible as folding completely over your legs, but this strap can be a great tool to help you get more flexible. So we're gonna take our strap and just place it over our feet, middle of your feet, and then you're gonna just, don't death grip the strap, but just hold the strap lightly. And then you're going to bend at your elbows and slowly start to bring your body over your legs. You can even bend your knees a tiny bit if you need to help you. And we're gonna breathe in to extend and breathe out, fold over a tiny bit more. Breathing in, extending, and breathing out, folding over a tiny bit more. Remembering to keep your back straight and not getting frustrated with where you are, because you know what, I'm right here and I've been practicing forever and that's fine. So you are where you are. And you're breathing and just feeling your body slowly, slowly fold a little bit deeper with each breath. Should feel really nice in your calves and hamstrings if they're tight. One more breath here. And then you're gonna just slowly bring yourself back up. And then bring your strap over to the side. And then you're gonna slowly, with control, with your hands out in front of you, start to bring your back towards the mat. You can stay here for a moment, maybe stretch your hands up overhead for a long stretch for a moment. And then place your feet on the mat with your knees going up towards the sky. I'm going to teach you bridge. We're going to do one little back bend and then some more restorative stuff. If you have your block nearby or your book or whatever, you might need it. We're going to do 2 bridges. The first bridge is going to be a more traditional bridge, but with this block or book or whatever, place it between your thighs to help you if you need the help. And then place your hands down by your feet so that your tips of your fingers are touching your heels or grazing your heels or wherever. And you can just put some weight into your head as you shift your shoulders closer together. We're setting ourselves up for this bridge pose. So your whole back should press into the mat now, press that whole back of your lower back into the mat because it tends to arch up. Press it all the way down for a moment though, and then breathe in. Press into your hands and your feet as you slowly start to lift your hips up towards the sky for bridge. Your chest is going towards your chin, but then your chin is going up, not leaning in, but looking up. And breathing here for a moment. If you have that block, your thighs are really pressing into that block to help you. If you don't have a block, just make sure that your knees are not going out to the side. They're going forward. One more breath here, and then you're going to take your hands out to a T and slowly start to bring your body back to the mat. Removing that block if you had it. Taking your feet out to the edge of your mat and just swaying side to side, windshield wipering your knees. And then you're gonna bring your feet back to the center, setting up one more time this time, but this time you don't need to put the block between your legs because we're gonna do a restorative bridge and we're gonna use that block for under our spine. So again, remembering to set up though, with your knees going towards the sky, not swaying out, hands are grazing your heels, lifting your shoulders to bring them closer together, getting rid of that arch. Breathing in and out, and then the next time you breathe in, you're just lifting your hips and taking that block either to the low or medium setting and placing it right at the base of your spine, right where your sacrum is. And you're resting on that block for 2 breaths. And after the second breath, you're gonna lift your hips a little bit more. Remove that block, bringing your hands to a T, slowly bringing your spine back towards the ground. This time, bringing your knees into your chest, giving them a hug, and rocking back and forth, releasing that full lower back. Making whatever movement feels good for you. And then you're gonna leave your right leg in your chest as you extend your left leg long. We'll just take a simple supine twist. Your left leg is long in front of you. Both feet are fully engaged still. And you're going to take your left hand to your right knee. Extend that right arm out to the side to a T. Shift your hips over to the right slightly. And then bring that left knee across your body over to the left, right knee over to the left side, yeah. And then take your gaze over to the right in the opposite direction. Remembering to keep your shoulders grounded. That's the most important part about this twist. It doesn't really matter where your knee is on it. Like your knee doesn't need to go all the way to the ground, but you're just remembering, keep your shoulders on the ground. Knee going towards that ground. And you're gazing over that right shoulder and breathing. One more breath. And then you're going to breathe in, bringing that knee back to center, giving it one more hug. And then you'll just switch out the legs. So bring the left knee in, and right leg extends long. Both feet are flexed, giving that left leg a squeeze. And then keeping your right hand on the left knee, extend the left arm out to the side to a T. You can also cactus it if that feels more comfortable for you to help you keep your shoulders grounded. And then you're going to shift your hips over to the left as you slowly start to bring your right knee over, across your body, left knee across your body. Sorry, messing those up today. And your gaze is over the left shoulder. And you're breathing. One more breath. And then you're going to bring your knee back to center. Give the left leg one more squeeze. And then bring your right knee into your chest. Giving both your legs another squeeze, another hug. Maybe rocking back and forth again if that feels right. And then we'll go into a happy baby. For happy baby, you can either take your hands to the back of your thighs and have your feet going up towards the sky, and you can stay there. Or if you want, you can take your hands and reach for that pinky edge of your feet with your arms inside your legs. And you're just gonna rock back and forth. And maybe extend one leg and then the other, whatever feels right, whatever feels good to you. For this happy baby, maybe extending your knees wider for a little bit more of a hip opener. It's really whatever you want to make it. And one more breath here. And then you're going to bring your feet together and drop your feet down to the mat, making that diamond shape for reclined Supta Baddha Konasana. You can take your hands overhead, maybe grabbing opposite elbows for a moment. Breathe here. And then you're going to extend one leg out and the other leg out. Bringing your hands down by your side, palms facing up. For Shavasana. Shavasana is a resting pose. You want to just really get yourself into the most comfortable pose possible. A pose that you can stay in for the next 4 minutes. And you're going to just try to quiet the mind and body. And take in all the movement that you just did. Feel the vibrations within your body. And breathe. I'll wake you up once the time is up. You're going to slowly start to wake yourself up. Maybe start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe roll your ankles and your wrists. You can take your arms above your head for a long body stretch, pointing your toes towards the front, stretching in both directions like you just woke up. And then you're going to bring your knees into your chest, giving them one last hug, thanking them because you just did all that hard work and you're giving yourself some love. And then you're going to just roll over to one side, whichever side feels best. Take one more moment there. And then you can press yourself up to seat, back into that Sukhasana that we started in. Take a moment here. Hands can be on your knees. Maybe they're placed on your knees to ground down a little bit more. Taking a few breaths. And then you're going to take your hands to heart center. You can tilt your head down a little bit. I just want to thank you all for joining me today in this beginner yoga class. Hope you all got something out of it and practiced that ahimsa, that nonviolence. You were kind to yourselves, and you also gave it this great activity and love today. Stretching, I'm sure, felt great. But the light in me honors and sees all that is good and light in each one of you. Namaste.